I've interviewed a lot of parents of children with special needs for my work, and most of them shared a feeling of deep grief and sadness when they first learned of their children's condition.
It was like a loss of a child almost. We had no ideas or thoughts that our child that we thought would be perfect would have a genetic disorder. I think my husband actually fell to his knees in the delivery room. We didn't know what to do.
It's called deficit grief. It's a concept no one prepares you for. But each of the parents that I'd interviewed shared with me how powerful it was once they let go of that grief.
Even though I get upset sometimes when I talk about when he was born, it was that initial shock, we don't view Down syndrome now as a bad thing. We view it as a blessing.
The importance of releasing that grief was a concept this first-time mother would come to appreciate.
Spencer was born preemie. He was 6 3/4 weeks early. He didn't walk till he was almost 2. I noticed that he really wasn't talking, but I was a new mom. I didn't know, and went to the pediatrician and I said, "Is everything okay? Don't they normally talk by 3 or something?" He was 3 years old. I was 6 months pregnant with Tristan, and they said, "Well, he has autism, and you should have been here at least 6 months ago." It was devastating.
Once the deficit grief set in for Mitzi, she felt her future was very bleak, especially with the birth of her second son and a diagnosis of autism for him as well.
I used to think, what did I ever do to deserve this? I mean, what did I ever do in my last life to get this? This is just too much for anybody to handle.
What color is it?
Okay, now we're going to have targets.
Spencer.
I was ashamed of them for a long time. I mean, I really couldn't handle it. I just couldn't handle people's reactions.
Why did you kick her?
Because I feel frustrated.
Once she knew what she was dealing with, Mitzi engaged her children in multiple interventions in order to prepare them and herself for dealing with a world of judgment. But she also came to realize that she needed different benchmarks to measure the progress of her children. And in the process, she released her deficit grief.
I mean, if you can imagine in preschool, driving by to pick your son up from preschool and he's sitting in a sandbox by himself. Nobody was in there playing with him. That was Spencer. And Spencer now is just this completely social butterfly. He has love and joy around him. Everybody that knows Spencer knows he's lower functioning, but they want to be his friend. I mean, how extraordinary. And how can this child who is lower functioning be so popular and people want to gravitate to him? And it's because he has this beauty.
Back in my day, there was no interaction really with kids with developmental challenges. We were pretty segregated. But today there is more inclusion in public school. And the benefit of that is that more typical kids can get the opportunity to have a shift in perspective that someone like Spencer offers.
He lives the most fulfilling life of anyone I know. There really isn't anyone I've met who can have such a positive outlook on life and just really make the most of every situation.
So much of the time we walk around with baggage and with just kind of like a rain cloud over our heads, and I just get in that class and Spencer is always just sunshine every day, and it's so cool.
And then you have Tristan, who's the brainchild, who is extraordinarily bright and just has to express himself.
The least understood thing about Tristan is that he's a genius, and I can have these incredible intellectual conversations with him. But at the same time, once you break down his shell, you have this really sweet boy.
Let me hear your robot voice.
Here we go.
Who's just has this incredible way of viewing the world, and it's really sweet.
I'm blessed my children are accepted for the quirks that they have.
You ain't nothing man, I'm telling you.
To get people to understand that and to know how wonderful it is to be accepted the way you are, regardless, is a great lesson in the world. The thing that took me a long time to realize is that you have to process the journey.
What are you thankful for?
I am thankful for my family.
Going from thinking, wow, I got this life sentence, to the fact that, I continue every day to see the change that my children make in other people's lives.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
My life has changed so much since I've focused on their abilities. I've opened up and embraced the differences that they have and the people that see them for the beauty that they are. And once I began to allow myself to see that, it became the most beautiful and joyful experience. We're all kind of put on that road where, you get married, white picket fence, the kids, and you never sign up for something like this. But it's been empowering for me to see my children that have special needs make a difference.
Understanding what deficit grief is and the results of releasing it, it's powerful. Please share this video and help us produce more of these insightful stories.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are.